Good morning everybody. Today we are going to start with the class regarding banker and customer. In everyday life, bank plays a very important role, and the role that the bank plays is something which is unimaginable because the financial assistance has been given by the banks to not only the business concern but also to the various individuals who have their savings and they feel difficulty in knowing where to save, and they also have insecurity of keeping the money with somebody else. So to solve all these problems, it was been found that in earlier days they thought, let us have a system of support to the public as well as to the businessmen with regard to the word bank. So bank is something which is a financial intermediary for safeguarding and transferring, exchanging, lending of money. Bank distributes money as a medium of exchange, and bank is a business, and banks sell the services to earn money, and they need to market and manage those services in a competitive field. Let's learn more about the fundamentals of banking. To start with, let's know what a bank is. A bank is a financial institution which deals with deposits and advances and other related services. Basically, a deposit. A deposit means whatever the money that is being given by the people who have earned and want to keep it safely for their future use. So they feel secured when they go to a financial institution and deposit the money. Deposit in a sense giving the money to the bank for safekeeping. And the bank, which is a mobilizer of the resources, will take the money and give the same amount of money to those who are in need of it in form of advances. And once advances has been given to the person, whoever is in need of it, will use this advances and perform his activity as required. It can be a businessman, it can be a customer, whoever it is in need of. So whenever an advance has been given by a financial institution, it serves the purpose of the person who is in need of it. Thus, as a bank, a financial institution, it deals with the deposits, that is the money that has been given by the person who has an interest in saving from his earnings, and the person who is in need of it would be given the money for his utility. And not only this the bank does, it does other related services. What is the other related services? The other related services here means to say the bank provides the facility acting as an agent. On behalf of the customer, it sometimes makes the remittances of bills, safekeeping of the valuables, the documents and various other things. In the later part of this content, we will understand what are the services the bank is going to relieve towards its customers. Basically, to understand the meaning, a bank is a financial institution which deals with deposits, advances and also other related services. Further to understand, it receives money from those who want to save in form of deposits. It cannot say give money to all of them. It will only take the money from those individuals or from those savers, from those who have an interest to keep the money in form of a deposit. And it will give the money to those who want it. That is what it means to say. It lends money to those who need it. So to understand, a bank is a financial institution which deals with deposits, advances and other related services. It receives money from those who want to save in form of deposit, and it lends money to those who need it. And further to understand with what the meaning is, we have to know the various viewpoints of various other authors who have understood more better the meaning of a bank. Accordingly, the authors who have contributed towards the understanding of the concept of the meaning, one of the definitions related to it is Crowther's definition. The definition is very clear. As a banker, a dealer in debt, his own and other people. It's so clear that from the definition, we can clearly understand a bank acts as a dealer. A dealer in essence, he will take the money of the other people. Other people in essence, the money from others will be utilized by the bank by giving to the person who is in need of it in form of a debt. Thus, bank is something who is accepting the deposit of money from the public and lending of funds to the needy. So the definition makes us very clear and makes us to understand that bank performs an activity called banking activity. What is banking activity then? Banking activity is something which is understood as an activity of accepting, safeguarding money owned by other individuals and entities and lending out this money in order to earn a profit. Any bank, in general, whenever we go to a bank or visit a bank, we notice that there is a cash counter where those who have the money will be depositing the money, and that money will go to the bank account, and in the bank account whatever the money is being utilized will be given to those people who are in need of it. So this activity of the bank of taking the money, keeping it safe, utilizing it in such a manner, whoever who need it has to take it, that concept is what is called as banking. Further, to understand the definition, we have one more personality called Crowther. Crowther's definition clearly says that banker as a dealer in debt, his own and other people's. It clearly mentions that bank is a person as an institution will accept the deposit of money not only of one person, but it also accepts a deposit of money from various individuals. That individuals are nothing but the people who are in public, and that money, whatever has been earned by the bank or kept in the bank, will not be there itself. That money will be given to the purpose of utility for those who are in need of it in form of lending. So that is a concept of the definition, that is accepting of deposits of money from public and lending of funds to the needy. So as far as Reserve Bank of India is concerned, which is one of the central banks for the system of banking in our country, has also clearly said that bank plays a major role in controlling the financial stability of the country, the fiscal policies of the country, the economy of the country. Without having bank as an institution, the economy cannot be easily controlled or cannot be easily administered. So further, let me go on with the concept. In understanding this concept, we have got a regulation of an act which is called Indian Banking Regulation Act 1949, which is basically to regulate our banking system. This Regulation Act came into existence to support our banking system for the purpose of defining what a bank is, what are its responsibilities, what are its duties, and what are its powers which can be enforced by a bank towards the service of the country, towards the service of the public. So as to the Banking Regulation Act, it also defines bank as accepting for the purpose of lending or investment of deposit of money from the public, repayable on demand. So what it means to say is, bank is an institution. It will act for the purpose of lending, and for this purpose it takes the money from those people who have surplus in them and invest that money either in form of the loan or in form of bonds or whatever the need the economy wants it. So accepting for the purpose of lending, or it may invest a deposit of money from the public, repayable on demand or otherwise. Withdrawal by check. You may withdraw the money either by check, or you may take a demand draft which will be used for the purpose of your business activities. You may take an order, letter of credit, or whatever the device you want. You may utilize it whenever you are in need of it, which you have kept in a bank as a deposit. And this activity, what the bank is doing, is what is called as banking according to Banking Regulation Act. So we are very clear with the term as to what a bank is. The term bank is very specifically explaining us that it is a financial institution which is basically for accepting of deposits and lending of advances to those who are in need of it. As a bank, it is an institution, and as an institution you have to further understand what it is. What what a bank is then. To understand what a bank is, then we have to know what is in a bank. So when you understand what is in a bank, it means we are able to understand the characters, the features of a bank. So when we go with the features of a bank, the meaning, the definition was so clear that bank is something which is dealing in money. That means a bank is an institution which deals with other people's money, and that is money given by the depositors. That means it's very clear, money is not of the bank. Money is something which is being given by the other people, and that money is what the bank is going to deal, and the other people who give money to them are called as the depositors. So very important feature of a bank is something which is a person as an individual. You can take it as an individual or you may take it as an institution which deals in money. It is not dealing with anything. It deals with money and forms of money. So bank is an institution which deals with other people's money, that is money given by the depositors. Further, when we go with that, bank is an individual. I was speaking always when I was explaining, bank is an individual. Of course, a bank is an individual because it acts as a person, it acts as a firm, it acts as a company. So bank is an individual which is having a business of doing banking. Further, bank is something which acts as a person, as an individual accepting of deposits. So very important feature of a bank is it deals with money, it is an individual, it is acceptance of deposit. So what does acceptance of deposit means? We are very clear. A bank accepts money from the people in form of deposits which are repayable on demand. So whenever you are in need of it, you go to your bank, you give a check, and the bank will not say, I don't have money, I'm not going to give you. It will give the money immediately whenever you are going to give the check or any form of withdrawal. So bank is something which never says no for the person who has money in his account in the bank. In that manner, bank is something which will take the money from its customer, keep it in a safe custody, and gives only when you demand for it. Otherwise, it will remain with the banker itself. And this is what makes it to understand a banker is a person who accepts the deposit and keeps the money with him unless and until it is repayable on demand. Repayable on demand, it means to say unless and until you ask for the money to give him back, it will not give back. Otherwise, if you have kept some fixed deposit in a bank, for example, and the period of maturity is for 5 years, and within this 5 years, if you have not taken the money, after the 5 years, automatically the money will be credited to the account of the customer. So that is what is called after the expiry of the fixed period. So a bank is having a very important feature as acceptance of deposit. Bank is something which is a very important feature as giving advances. Giving of advances is nothing but a bank can lend money in form of loans those who require it for various purposes. Imagine I have to buy a vehicle. I have to buy a vehicle for my son who has completed his studies now. He demands for it. When he demands for it, I have no money with me, but I have to fulfill his demand. So what will I do then? I have to give him the vehicle. So for that purpose, I may approach a bank and ask for a loan called vehicle loan. And the vehicle loan will be explained to me with the terms and conditions, the rate of interest, the principal amount, at what rate I would be able to get the money. And that what the bank is giving for me in form of a loan in essence, which is to be repayable on demand by the banker by adding certain rate of interest to it. So a loan can be in any form. It can be a short-term loan, it can be a long-term loan, it can be a medium-term loan. That is not the factor here. What you are in need of it, that type of a loan can be given by the banker as to your requirements. and for your purpose. That is what is a very important feature of a bank, which says that you give advances. That means a bank lends money in form of loans, those who require it for different purposes. And my example was to take a vehicle loan, which I was in need just to fulfill the desire of my son, who said I wanted to take a vehicle. So this way a bank is performing its various activities of accepting deposit as well as of giving advance. So when it does this activity of acceptance of deposit and giving of advances, it means it has its feature as acceptance deposit, giving advances. Further, bank is something which is also having a very important feature, which is called payments and withdrawals. What does this payments and withdrawals means? Payments and withdrawals is a very good facility what the bank gives towards its customer in form of checks, in form of drafts. So whenever you're in need of money, you can go to the bank, just give your check and the money will be given. And now the world is digitalized. Being a world of digitalization, you need not even go to the bank. You have everything through e-banking, where you have your mobile phone, an app given by the banker, which just gives you the facility of service where using the app, you at the house can make all your banking transactions online. So this is the feature of the bank, which clearly says that it will give an easy facility of payments and withdrawal to its customers, not only with the traditional method of using checks and drafts, going to an ATM for the draw of money, but also through digital banking services, which is very much important in today's world. And further, the feature of banking says that bank gives us with other facilities called the agency and utility services. What is this agency utility service? This will be explained further in the few other classes which you are going to hear to it. But in today's class, let's understand very briefly what agency utility service is. Basically, agency and utility service is something a bank provides to its customer. As an agent, it will collect the customer's bills, acceptance of bills of the customer. It is one of the services that it is giving towards the customer. It is not the customer who pays himself. It is a bank which acts on behalf of the customer in payment of its bills. It's a very simple example which tells you what agency utility services are, and this feature can be explained further when we move on to the topic related to it. The next important feature is profit and service orientation. What does profit service orientation here means? A bank is profit seeking institution having service oriented approach. What it means, very clear to understand. A bank doesn't do any work for the purpose of earning profit. It does everything with an intention of giving service. That means you perform your work with an intention of giving services towards your customer. You have no intentions of making profits, but you charge some customer service charges which is required for running the institution. So the banking is a financial institution which is not profit oriented, but which is concerned with giving a service approach towards the customer. And another very important feature is bank acts as a connecting link. What is a connecting link? It acts in between two people. Who are these two people between whom the bank is acting? The bank is acting between the two people, that is the borrowers and the lenders, by giving loans and advances. In the same way, bank is also a link between two people. The two people is the people who have surplus money. The surplus money has to be invested in a very proper, in a right manner. And this purpose of investment requires the support of a financial institution which says, if you have surplus of money, give it to us. We will make investment on behalf of you in a better place and give you better returns. And this aspect of bank, which is performing the acceptance of the deposit and lending of it to the general purpose or to the needed purpose or to the utility purpose, whatever it is, this activity of the bank is what is called as the connecting link between the borrowers and the lenders, and by collecting the surplus money of the public and giving it to the needy. those who are in need of it. And this activity of what the bank is doing will make us to understand bank as a very important feature of acting as a connecting link. And thus bank is also something which always have the activity which is related to banking activity. What does this banking activity means? Banking activity means the main intention and the purpose of the existence of the bank is to create the activity of accepting deposit and lending of advances to the needy and for the needed purposes. Leaving this, bank does various other services, but the main basic intention of what the bank is doing is banking activity. That is why a very important feature of the bank is it performs banking business. And further to go on with the last feature of what the banking is something which has always a word called bank. Whichever the bank you may see it, might be State Bank of India, or it can be HDFC Bank, or it can be City Bank, or it can be ICICI Bank. Whatever the bank, whichever the names I have pronounced, I have said here in front of you, is very clear that it has a word bank at the end. That means to say every bank has an identity with the word bank itself. So one of the features of bank is so clear that it has a name identity. That means a bank should always add the word bank to its name to enable the people to know that it is a bank and it is dealing in money. So thus, to understand what a bank is, and in today's content, I think we were very clear to understand what is a bank. And now if the question comes in to ask you people what a bank is, I think we'll be very clear with the meaning, telling a bank is something which is a financial institution which is concerned with acceptance of deposits and lending of advances. And it is also very clear with the features that bank has a very important feature of dealing with money, acting as an individual, acceptance of deposits, giving of advances, payments and withdrawals, performing of agency utility services, not concerned with profit but basically towards service. It is with the business of banking, and the name identity itself says that bank is something which deals with money. So there are various other multiple questions given to you. You can understand those questions, and if you are able to answer it, I think the whole content has been clearly understood. So when we meet back in the next session, I think I'll be able to make you understand how the bank plays a very important role in our economy and how it has its major importance in the controlling of the various fiscal policies in every country. Thank you.